I don't think that's supposed to be happening. Time has come to put the motor inside of the Audi. I say like it took me a while. It's been like a day or two since I pulled the thing out. I got the turbos on. I did get a set of J Innovation turbos off of Jake because he had some locally, so they're brand new and stuff, so I went ahead and fitted them. This one required some clocking. This bolt right here, this banjo bolt, is very tight between this side of the turbo and this side of the manifold, so that was a little tricky. I did get rid of the thick spacer. I'm not exactly sure if I needed it. I thought it was just for clearance, but as you guys can see, I cleared the line just fine. Everything's good, everything's tightened down really well, better than last time at least. Got my crush washer between the turbo. I've checked everything out, everything looks good. Yeah, she's ready to go back in the car. Wish me luck. This is the first time that I install a motor that's been separated from the transmission. I mean, I've done it in other chassis, but not in this one just because everything's so tight. But I went ahead and put the transmission jack lifting up the bell housing just a little bit so it doesn't sag when I put it in. The motor should be able to go in right here. The starter bolt didn't come out, but I'm gonna use it as a guide, and hopefully everything else goes pretty smoothly. I hope I can line up the input shaft on the transmission with the clutch. All right, so I use these bungee cords to pull the motor this way since it's going in at a slanted angle, and the reason I use them is because it's very forgiving, so I'm still able to adjust by hand. And since I only have one chain, the motor wants to spin this way, so I went ahead and put a bungee cord on this side. That way it's pretty forgiving as well for adjustment. And down there I have the transmission jacked up. It looks like the motor's a little high. I'm gonna be able to go down. I still have some space between the stud here and the subframe, so that'll be good. And then as for the pilot bearing, I'm watching my input shaft here and the clutch right there on this side with my little camera that I picked up. I really want to avoid putting any unnecessary strain on that, so that's how I'm going to be sliding it in. So far so smooth, just very time consuming. It's not even touching yet, but we already got it aligned right there. Just ready to push the motor back a little bit, get the beginning of the input shaft to go in, and then hopefully all smooth from there. So far we have penetrated the clutch. As you can see, we just got the tip in nice and lubed up, ready to go in. So I took the lift off now, and now I have better access to these back ones since the motor is dropped in on the subframe. As you can see, everything's pretty easy to get back here. I'll just remove the spider hoses. Definitely makes it a lot easier. I got another bolt back there. At this point you could just start them in by hand. It's pretty straightforward. This is the starter bolt. It's just going over my fingers, you know, nice and easy, nice and steady. You gotta think about this work as it's art. You gotta enjoy it. You gotta do this with your heart. Occasionally you do have to throw out a few cuss words while you're doing this, even though I didn't have to. Actually, I used my borescope, put it in one of the holes in the transmission for the one of the peepholes on the transmission. Went ahead and put the borescope in there, lined up the input shaft with the transmission, which was very easy actually. I expected it to be a lot more difficult. Another thing that makes it a lot easier is to remove your power steering line here. If you move your power steering line in the back, you have a lot more space to work with for when you put your downpipes on, etc, etc, etc. Anyways, not as bad as I thought. It took me about an hour, and it only took me long because I had to go back to my house and trim one of the bottom bell housing bolts, the Allen wrenches down there, the Allen bolts. The reason for that is I used to have an automatic transmission, and one of those bolts was very long, so I had to take it back to the house and cut it to length with the other ones so I wouldn't have an unnecessary amount of threads. Yeah, everything's going really good. Time to button everything back up. At least I don't have to put my drive shaft on and my CV axles. And with that being my first time pulling the motor out without the transmission, it was a little time consuming at first, but now that I've acquired all the tips and tricks and the knowledge on how to do this, next time should be a breeze. And you know there's gonna be a next time. So The time spent putting on the fucking downpipes, getting those top bolts, kind of a fucking bitch, especially this side. Look, you can't even fucking see shit over here. Getting that bolt by the O2 sensor back there, man, this fucking sucks. I'm never doing it like this again. The time spent, I've been here for like an hour trying to get the downpipes on. The time I spent doing that, and then I got like fucking extensions, I got fucking ratchet wrenches, I got everything. I even got this little one. Not worth it, and I feel like I'm gonna have an exhaust leak. Timed them the best I could, but man, I do not recommend doing it like this. And if you do, you're the man, you're a champion. If you enjoy doing it, at least, because I mean, obviously I'm doing it and I can get it done, but in the amount of time that I would have calmly torqued my CV axles, my drive shaft, and all that, I would have already been done. Maybe at the same time, just a lot more enjoyable. Definitely not doing it like this again. Not worth it for me. I'm gonna remove the wheels. Maybe I have better access to some bolts, but if I'm gonna remove the wheels, might as well remove the pinch bolt and pull out the CV axles. It's not that hard. Never doing that shit again. Matter of fact, if this car breaks, I'm selling it. So fuck that. I'm done working on this thing. Waste of money, waste of time. Sorry, I'm bitching, guys. All right, I just needed a little bit of lunch or something, because I came back with a clear mind, different ratchet combos, wrenches, angles, and I went over and retightened every single one of them, and I feel pretty confident that they're all tightened. So now we can go ahead and move forward with the rest of the easy stuff, such as putting the alternator on, the AC lines. I'd like to get it started tonight. Maybe I'm getting a little itchy, but we'll see. If not, I'll finish it tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a really warm day. All right. I don't think that's supposed to be happening. I don't know what that's due to. I want to say maybe the starter. It's turning the wheels. I don't know if something fell in there. Oh man, come on. I was about to kill myself. Oh my god. It was just a starter. So what happened was, down here, I'm not sure if you guys are even able to see, but below the wires there's a little bit of clearance, right? So initially I thought the starter was sitting on top of this coupler, so I forced it in a little bit, but what it really is, that line back there runs over the top of the starter and it pushes the starter down towards the block. And when I tightened it, I just tightened it not realizing that, and so what I just did now was I loosened up the bottom bolt, grabbed a screwdriver below, and pushed the starter out, and Jesus Christ, I almost killed myself.